So welcome to a new Game Stuff episode, the first Game Stuff of 2019, and there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot of games that came out through Christmas that I never got to talking about. I'm going to do all of that in one big episode today, and I first of all want to thank Kim, my wife, for getting me this shirt for Christmas. I've been wanting it for a very long time. Prince Purple Rain. I saw the movie in 1987 with my sister, and at that time, I thought Prince was like incredible. I thought he was amazing. And it's funny, just in the movie I'm talking about. And then I watched the movie a few years ago, and I'm like, man, that's a creepy movie. It's really, he's a very big creep in that movie, for sure. It's too funny, but I loved it that Kim bought me this for Christmas. I was like, oh, this is great. You know, it's so fun to get. So I had to wear that on the show today. And to start off with, we have a very interesting item. And it's not a game. It's not a machine. It's not a vinyl. It's none of that stuff. It's something from 1988. And it's a piece of paper. It's some paper here. Some stuff printed on it. And I think it's really fascinating and really interesting. And this was sent over from Corey from My Life in Gaming. I did an episode with him during the Christmas time for New Year's. It was a big Phantasy Star special where we talked about all the different Phantasy Stars. And it's kind of a bit of a series review. It's an hour long, tons of footage, tons of music. We put a lot of effort into that video. I'm really proud of it. But Corey brought up something very fascinating, that back then you'd phone the 1-800 Sega number if you were stuck in a game. This is before the internet. If you were stuck in a game, you'd phone a number, and there'd be a counselor there to help you get through that section of the game. He told me this during the special, and I was like, what? He phoned them for Phantasy Star back in '88, and they sent him all of these maps and all of these instructions how to get through it in the mail. And I was like, oh my god, I said, what a collectible that would be. I'd love to even see something like that. Where he found it. He found a PDF of it online that somebody put up. I don't know exactly where it comes from, but I know it's like a game fact, but this is before game facts. And what is really cool here, for Phantasy Star 1988, they sent you maps, how to get through the dungeons back then, and where to find everything. And I absolutely was blown away. This is a piece of history. It really is. And I was so thankful to Corey for sending this over. Look at this. And I love the handwriting at the top here, that Sega would send you this if you were stuck in Phantasy Star back in 1988. I had no idea. I was too scared to phone 1-800 Sega. My parents would have killed me because the phone bills back then would be astronomical for phoning a 1-800 number. And it'd be like $1.99 a minute, and I'd be on there for probably 2.5 hours, knowing me. So I always avoided it. Never did it, but I thought that was a really cool way to start this new Game Stuff episode, by looking back to the past, to 1988, and seeing some of the maps and things they would send you for Phantasy Star. Absolutely brilliant. Very brilliant. Okay, on to this, and I've been really excited to open this up for a while, and I've been waiting for this new Game Stuff to do it. Castlevania Symphony of the Night on vinyl. I got this right away from Mondo. I ordered it online. I'm like, I have to have this without question. Oh, that was the worst. That was the worst attempt at flipping the knife I've ever done. I was so concentrating on talking about it there that I was not doing my knife skills any justice at all. But let me say something else while I open this up. During Halloween, I probably had one of the best Halloweens of my life. I can't explain all the reasons why. Everything was perfect. The right movies, we did the right things, we went to pumpkin patches, and I picked up online Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS4 network. And I played it, and I know a lot of people complained that it's the retranslated version. I'm with you. I just played it in Japanese, and I looked at that, and it was the perfect game to play during Halloween. And just revisiting all the music, and let's have a look at this vinyl, some of the artwork inside. Isn't that gorgeous looking stuff? Even Kim has never seen Castlevania Symphony of the Night playing before, and she was like, oh my god, the artwork for this game Everything is just phenomenal. She was captivated watching me play it and all that. I just want to have a look at the records themselves here. Oh, very nice. That's beautiful stuff. Okay, here's something I'm going to admit. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I believe, I'd have to reference it with a few other soundtracks. I believe it is my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. Now, Final Fantasy Tactics is way up there too, and there's a few other soundtracks, obviously. But nothing beats Symphony of the Night. All of the tracks are legendary. And when I was replaying the game during Halloween, I was like, God damn it, did they ever get this right? The music, the gameplay, everything. But every single track in there, just for music-wise, is perfection. It's perfection. Very excited. I don't know if this is still online. It was at Mondo.com. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. What I do is I'm on Twitter and somebody will say, hey, look what's up on this site, and I'll go click on it and I'll buy it because most of this stuff sells out right away. This was a little bit of a surprise, and I really want to thank Snowcastle Games for sending this out. And this has really kind of warmed my heart, and I want to say thank you to you guys so much. A package arrived, and a nice little letter to me from Snowcastle Games saying that they've sent me their game. And this is an indie game that was released. I think there's a Kickstarter for it. I'm not quite sure of all the back details on this. And I honestly never heard of it before. I'd never heard of it before. And they sent me a little bit of artwork as well. And this is the thing that really was amazing. They sent me this, and it's signed by all the people who worked on the game at Snowcastle Games. And I was just like, that really means a lot to me. And, I know I talk about a lot of mainstream games on here. I talk about all the big games, all the newest games. But, the thing is I like to try to do once in a while is really show the smaller indie developers out there that are working extremely hard on their games, and they have just so much love for what they're doing. And I want to, highlight them. And so I absolutely want to highlight them. They just sent me a little pin as well. And so I sat down, it must have been a couple of weeks ago, and I started to play the game. And I'm not kidding you, I was completely surprised how good it was. I was like, what? This is a team, I believe, out of Norway. I had no idea that this had been developed. Even Kim came in, and she's like, oh, wow, what game is this? And I'm like, this is a game I didn't even know existed. And that is something in our modern time that I don't know if we take it for granted, but we're so overloaded with so many video games and so much media that so many things just passes by and then you never hear about, and they're gone, and they get kind of lost in the shuffle of time. And I think the game Earthlock is one of those games. It's a really interesting little RPG, very charming. A lot of love is in there. All the hand-drawn artwork, and I really enjoyed the combat, the characters and story. I'm going to keep playing this game. I really am, and I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciated you guys sending this over. I really, really do. Now we're going to get into some Nintendo Switch games, and a lot of them I have not talked about. I've saved them all up till now, so I could just kind of get through them all and talk about a little bit about every single one. There was a huge game that was released in the end of 2018, and I don't know, I think nearly everybody got it, and everybody's already played it, and I'm not here to review it, and that is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm just here to give a few impressions on it. It's interesting, when I first played the original Smash Brothers back on the N64, I didn't like it. Me and Rob and my friend Satan, we rented it and we played it back in the day, right? We just didn't like it. We just thought, oh, this is a goofy kind of game. And then, the GameCube version came out, then the Wii version, and and we're up to now, and even the Wii U version. It's like, I gotta say, I loved, starting with the GameCube, the fan service, the amount of stages, the amount of music. I loved it. I'm not saying I'm great at the game, because I'm certainly not. I'm a Street Fighter guy more. But I can say with all honesty, I really, really love this game. I think it's incredible. The amount of music, the amount of stages, characters. I really like the quest mode of unlocking things. I'm still unlocking everything. I think a lot of people complained about unlocking stuff, but I was like, that's kind of Smash Brothers. That's kind of what you do. This is what you do. I also think it is the greatest crossover game of all time. I mean, nothing comes close to Smash Brothers, does it? I mean, having a team of Ken, Snake, Bayonetta, with Mario, I mean, the list goes on and on with Cloud. The team-ups that you can do in this game are from a video game dream. You can't believe it. Cloud versus Ken. If somebody said that to me years ago, I'd be like, what? That'd be an impossibility. But it's here, and it's a really, really great game. I mean, I have not seen a game with so much content and so much to do and so much gameplay and so much you can... I mean, there's so many gameplay hours to be had here. I have not even scratched the surface. It's still in my Nintendo Switch right now. It's still there, still unlocking things. I was playing it during Christmas, and I was like, I was so busy, and I was like, I really want to come in and talk about this, and I'm glad I could say a little bit, finally. Now, I made a video also at the end of 2018 talking about why I want to get Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. It was a response to Dreamcast guy, and he was saying that he didn't want to get it. And I was like, all the reasons why he didn't want to get it were all the reasons why I did want to get it. He's more of a seasoned veteran for Pokemon, and I am absolutely not, but I aspire to be. So we picked this up, and we picked up the ball, the Pokeball, right here, and we started playing it. I should say Kim started to play it. And we got about 16 hours in, and it is a very charming game. It's very repetitive. After a while, throwing the ball mechanics can get kind of goofy. You'll throw it straight, but it's not quite straight, and you're like, I swear I did that right, and it doesn't land right, or you don't capture the Pokemon right, and all that. But that being said, I really like this, and I know it's funny, as I say, I aspire to be a Pokemon guy. And I got to learn a lot more about Pokemon playing this game, based on the original game, games back then. And so I had a lot of fun sitting with Kim, and I don't know if I've talked about this a lot. I was almost going to do an entire episode on it. One thing I love doing, and I have since probably 1988 to 89, when we used to go to my friend Andrew's place, sit on his couch and watch him play video games all day. It's a very zen, relaxing thing for me to do. And I love watching Kim play video games at times. I just absolutely love it. And I'll sit there and I'll drink tea, or have some candy or cookies or whatever, and just sit and play video games together. And it's a thing that me and her can share together, and it's a lot of fun. And that's what this game will always be to me, especially with this. I've enjoyed the Pokeball. I thought this was so fun. I thought this was such a neat addition to the game that brought it a little bit more to life. But I'll say this much. I am looking forward to the next generation Pokemon game that should be unveiled this year in 2019. That is really what I'm excited about. Okay, this is a fun one too. This is a really fun one too. I got a copy of this. This was sent to me by Bandai Namco. Katamari Damacy Reroll for the Switch, and the excitement to play this game. This is on my list of games to play. I got a few that I've set aside. I had to come in here and talk about it. First, I'm really excited to talk about this because I bought the original game back in the day on the PlayStation 2, and I thought it was amazing. Even back then, the hype in the air on the PS2 era was electric for this game. We all knew it was something new and something exciting about rolling around a huge ball and collecting items, and every item in the world would get connected to it. It was ridiculous, and it was wonderful. And I do believe this is a GameStop exclusive. I believe it's also coming to PS4 as well. And so this, with Smash Brothers, are some games I'll be playing this week. I cannot wait to try that out. I love the original. I remember playing that over and over and over. And I heard some tracks are not there, which is unfortunate. Some of the classic tracks from the original, but still, it's not going to take away from me. I'm looking forward to experiencing it again and just to see it again. It's so great. Okay, in 2018, I reviewed a couple of games, obviously, like a few games. One of them was the Genesis collection. I reviewed the PS4 version, and I gave it a roaring review. I thought it was amazing, and I got this right here. This is the Sega Genesis, Classics collection, over 50 games on the Nintendo Switch. And I have a friend of mine, and he wrote to me, and he said, have you played it yet? And I said, and this was a few weeks ago. I said, no. I said, why? He says, oh, I heard it didn't play that well on the Switch. I said, really? I said, oh no, I was really, really gutted because I was really looking forward to this. So I put it in, I started playing it, I tested a bunch of games, and it seemed to be fine. I didn't see any problems at all. I tested Streets of Rage 2, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star, and they all seemed to play okay. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's something I don't know. If there is, guys, let me know in the comments, because right now playing this was great, and I definitely wanted this on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, I'm from that era of the Genesis. I loved it. I have so many memories. All of the games I played back then, most of them I still own physical copies for, but now why I wanted the Switch version is that, as we all know with the Switch, I can take them anywhere. Can take them anywhere, and I can always have like Phantasy Star 4 in my pocket, and that's always a great thing. Always a super great thing. Okay, speaking of great things, one of my favorite fighting games of 2018, and it was the beginning of 2018. It's up there as one of my top fighting games of all time, hands down. Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ on the Nintendo Switch. I want to thank Bandai Namco for also sending this out. I had a lot of time during Christmas time to play this and test this out. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not, me, I'm not ragging on the Nintendo Switch, its power or anything like that. But I was doubtful that Dragon Ball FighterZ would run smoothly on it. I thought, well, I don't know. It's a powerful game, right? It's a powerful, visually powerful playing and looking game. I thought, can they get that on the Nintendo Switch? You know what? They did. I played a lot of it. And I was like, they've done a great job here. This is a great port. And I was applauding Bandai Namco's efforts on getting a good port to the Switch. I really, really love the game. I mean, it's, back in the day, I used to play the Super Famicom games. That's even before, the later versions that would come out over here and stuff like that. But I played the Japanese, Super Famicom versions, and I love them. I thought they were so great back then. And this is the perfect Dragon Ball fighter. And I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I love Super. We watched every episode. I think I've talked about it a few times before. But okay. Last few Switch games here. I ordered this from Limited Run Games because I saw my friend Victor Lucas had done a review on it. And I was like, this seems interesting. Why does this seem so interesting? And it's a Golf Story. And Limited Run Games did a physical copy for the Switch. And I was like, okay, so it's a Golf Story. I'll just explain a little bit. It's an RPG golf game. And I was like, this sounds really cool. And I saw it playing, and I went and watched trailers on it, and I was like, okay. So I ordered it from Limited Run. I had to get it. And then I found out that Limited Run, because the big deal about ordering from Limited Run is that it's a limited run, where I found out it's in Best Buy after that. And I was kind of a little bit disappointed about that, I can say that. But happy to get a Golf Story. I can't wait to get into a golf RPG. I mean, seriously, it kind of reminds me of like Final Lap Twin back in the day, which was just a racing game, but had RPG elements. So this is like a golf game with RPG elements. And Final Lap, that was a TurboGrafx game, but I'm looking forward to finding out about the RPG mechanics of this game. 100%. Okay, this was a great one that was released in 2018, again, near the end. SNK's 40th Anniversary Collection. This is a game they sent me a code for, and I was like, I have to get a physical copy of the Anniversary Collection of this. I'm a huge SNK fan, and I think a lot of people were confused by the collection. I think a lot of people thought all the Neo Geo games were going to be on there, where it's SNK, like it's a lot of their older arcade games and home ports of those games and stuff like that. So I'll just show Great job there, John. Great job. There's the box. Here we go. All of the titles here. I'm just going to open it up for you guys. So it comes with an official art book here. And I'm going to get closer to the camera. Crack the seal here. And it's on... I'll just show a little bit of... Oh, here. I'll show you some of this stuff. I got Victory Road going on. I love the old school artwork of SNK. Oh, watch this. The next page is a representation of that. Oh, Athena. I absolutely love Athena. So great. And you know what? I'm just looking for something else in here to show you. I know it's in here. Oh, come on, come on. There we go. Crystallis. Some beautiful artwork from Crystallis. A game, an action RPG that was released on the NES, and stupendous game back in the day. Stupendous game. And I had never talked about it on the show until I reviewed the 40th Anniversary Collection. I never did. And so here is a copy of the Switch version of the game here. And here, this is a funny one to me. Here is the official soundtrack, and there's quite a few songs on here, but there's one memorable song, and that is Psycho Soldier, the theme song. I played it to a great degree in my review of this collection, and it was so funny because I had no idea the arcade game had singing, and the singing is bad, really bad. But it's super funny to have that, and there's a lot of other great stuff, like Crystallis soundtrack is on here. The one thing, I'm not going to do a whole review on it here. Check out my review on it. I go in depth into all of the Anniversary Collection. Is that there's so much here. The one thing I didn't mention is that you can start a game like Crystallis and have it autoplay, and just sit and watch, and the game will actually play itself all the way to the end boss, and you can take charge of the game at any time. So say you go and say you want to play the end boss of Crystallis, but you don't want to play the game. You hit, play, and the game will start playing. I'll just start doing everything, and maybe after a few hours, you get to the end boss. You're like, oh, I'm near the end boss. You take charge of the game, and then you can play it. You can break in at any time and play it. Pretty cool, if you ask me. That's pretty cool. That's the one thing I failed to mention in that review. There was a lot to mention. And here we have a series of cards going on here. And I love Athena in the front there again. This Anniversary Collection means a lot to me. This is my youth. There's a lot of things that, that remind me of my youth, like the Genesis Collection. But SNK was really a big deal. Akara Warriors, POW, all of those arcade games were a big deal. And I had a really good time playing the collection. It took me back to the past. And I'm not quoting the Angry Video Game Nerd, but it really took me back to the past in a really wonderful way, and really nice to revisit that. Okay, we're nearly through all the games. Here's a game I also reviewed in 2018, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. Because I think it still deserves to be an 8 out of 10. But the one thing, I got this really cheap during the Black Friday sales online. I got a review code sent to me by Sony back in the day, but I had to own a physical copy because I know this sounds funny, me and Kim are still talking about Detroit Become Human to this day. All of the choices we made, all the choices we didn't make. And I like the game so much that for Christmas, we got Kim's dad this game because he's a big video game guy, and he finished the game. And he phoned out to talk to Kim and said how he'd finished the game and how he'd done really well in it. And we're like, oh man, we made all the wrong choices, and that's what's so great about it is you can't. All the choices you make are your choices. It's a choose your own adventure style of game, and I was just so taken back. But why does it get an 8 out of 10? I think it's too short. I think there's not enough gameplay, but it's one of those ones that, this sounds strange to say, in my mind, for me emotionally, it's a 9 out of 10, but for everything that it brings to the table, it's an 8 out of 10. It really is. It is just one of those. I love it though. I do recommend that quite a lot. If you like choose your own adventure style games, you'll love it. You'll really, really like it. And okay, we got a couple of games we're going to get through here at the end here. Dark Souls Remastered Trilogy. So we got Dark Souls on here, the remastered version, and Dark Souls 2 and 3. So during Christmas time, I was very sick. And I was laid on the couch, not from a hangover, but I had a terrible cold. And I just sat there and I was just playing Dark Souls 1. And I got really far into it. The farthest I've ever gotten. And I was like, yeah, the Dark Souls series, man, is like, it's over the years, it's grown on me more and more. You know, it's just one of those things. One of the first ones I ever defeated or beat was Dark Souls 3. And I was like, if I can do that, I felt like accomplished when I did 3. I was like, I can do anything. I think I can do anything with the Dark Souls series. And it's a challenging game, though. Like, these games are really challenging, but they're fascinating. And every time Kim comes in, she's like, this game scares the hell out of me. And I said, why? She's like, I don't know. She's like, it's like a dark Zelda. And she's like, it's just relentless. And even I'm like, yeah, it never stops. And as soon as I say something like that, something comes out of the dark and it attacks me. And the boss encounters, the imagination, the level design. Dark Souls as a series is astronomically unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And to have all of the games in one package here, very cool. And speaking of packaged games, this got sent over to me by Sega Atlas. And this is gonna be a very honest review on this. This is Persona Endless Night Collection. So it's a collection of dance rhythm games using Persona characters. So it's got Persona 3, Persona 4 is included as a download, and Persona 5. And I just want to say for the record, I was not looking forward to this collection at all. And Sega's like, oh, we're going to send it over to you. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh man, I'm not really a rhythm guy, you know, pressing buttons on the screen. I don't really know if I'm going to be really into this too much. And, you know, the great thing is I got Kim into it. Kim has finished all of the Persona games, except for 3. She hasn't done that, or the other ones before that. I'm talking like the last few, like 4 and 5. I should probably say that. She's a big fan of Persona, and I really like Persona as well. So I was like, Kim, why don't you give this a try? So I thought, you know, I can just watch Kim play it and see if I like this style of game. So the night we did it, Kim had a very stressful day at work. And so we had dinner, and I said, hey, do you want to give this game a shot? And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. And she's like, I don't know, though. She's like, I'm not really into rhythm games. She said the same thing I did. And she started to play it. And I kind of left the room, and I came back, and I started hanging out for a while. And at first, she was very frustrated, because you've got to, you know, press all the right commands at the right time. And, you know, it can be very daunting. Up, you know, triangle. It's like, you know, it's very, very, very tough games. Just all the time. And the more Kim did it, the better at it she got. And then she finished it. Yes, I'm not kidding. She sat there like on easy mode to begin with and finished it, went through all of it, and then unlocks more. And she's like, oh my god, I'm so addicted to this game. This is amazing. And it's amazing if you're a Persona fan. If you love Persona and the characters and the music, that the music means something to you. You recognize it. You know, you play the games, you know it. And then you're doing the rhythm to those songs. That's when the game comes alive. And so the interesting thing is all of these games are sold separately. This is all collected into one. Separately, in Canada, they're like $70 each. So that's quite a few games included in one package. I recommend it if you're a Persona fan and a rhythm fan. I know it goes without saying, but I was on the fence, and I'm a Persona fan, and I'm an old you know, Dance Dance Revolution fan, you know, with a pad and doing the dancing stuff. I used to like that back in early 2000s. I really wish some of those games would come back. If there was a pad for this, it would be so cool. I'd really kind of enjoy that quite a lot, but I didn't know what to think. I kind of really enjoyed watching Kim play it, and Kim loves it. She's not done with it yet, and there's also a VR mode included. So, all right. We're getting to the end here. During Diablo getting released on the Switch, Nintendo sent this over to me out of nowhere, and it's a Diablo Switch case, which is really kind of nice. and all that. I was just going, oh, okay. It just kind of came in the mail. I was like, that's cool, but nothing will replace my Breath of the Wild case. My Breath of the Wild case is so great, but a great collectible. And Diablo on the Switch, I never even talked about that. I bought my friend Andrew that for Christmas because I thought it was such a great port and such a great thing. Okay, we're going to get into a few more things here. How about I just jump into it? How about I just talk about the elephant in the room here? The PlayStation Classic. Now, as of me filming this, you probably saw my video on my Walmart PlayStation Classic Nightmare. And what happened is I had ordered a PlayStation Classic. I'm not going to get into all the details of that because I wanted to play it because I was kind of hyped up for it before everybody started talking about it online and some of the reviews came in. And then, just as I had ordered it online, Sony sent me this review copy here. This review copy right here. And I was like, oh my god, like I have to return the other Classic. Well, anyways, go and watch the video on that. It's 15 minutes long and Walmart is out of their minds. They're crazy over there. They're crazy. What are my thoughts on the PlayStation Classic? I did so many early reactions to it. I was very hyped for it. I was very excited for it. I liked most of the games that were released. I played it. I played it a little bit. I started it up. And I'm going to say something here. I agree with a lot of the complaints out there that some of the ports of the games, being the PAL versions, makes me scratch my head and wonder why. Why did they bring those versions out and not the American versions to play the correct way? This is something that we'll always be asking. I don't know. Could they have included more games on here? Yeah, absolutely. Am I upset with the games that are on here? No, not particularly. There's a few that I already did a reaction to all this. It's called my sober reaction. This was probably a couple months ago now, but the one thing that I will say, and I know there's so many people online that are hating this or whatever. I say that this has a future, and I'm not saying I don't do this sort of thing. I don't do it myself. I'm not, but the modding scene is going to have a heyday with this. What I'm reading online is people are modding this and getting a lot out of it. They're putting so many more games on and stuff like that. I don't have the intelligence or capability to do that, but it is fascinating. But one thing I am going to say a small thing in its defense here, is that it's my birthday this weekend. While you're watching the video, this will be on Sunday, my birthday will be the next day. But the night before you're watching this video, me and my friends, I got Rob coming over and my friend Satan, and we're going to turn this on, and I've already done it. I played some Ridge Racer, Type 4, and I played one of my favorite RPGs, Wild Arms. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to play some of those games and have some good memories of, our old times playing them. And that's what we're going to get out of this weekend, for sure. And so I'm going to try to squeeze some joy out of this, because I think there's some joy in here, for sure. Is it perfect? No. Was there some strange decisions? Yes. Can we still salvage it? Maybe the modding community can. But I'm going to try to salvage it for myself on my birthday and have a couple of drinks, play some Wild Arms. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, a few more things, and we're out. We're still into a few more video game things here. I think it was a bunch of months ago. I talked about how I'm just going to move this over here. How I picked up World Heroes, and I had this deep, memories and love again for World Heroes. All the memories came flooding back to me from the early 90s playing that game. And I went and bought the Neo Geo game, and then I bought the Nintendo Switch game, and I was playing it all the time. And it's really a strange one to even quantify World Heroes, because it's not the greatest playing game, but I have so many memories of playing it in the arcades and a certain time of my life, and I think it just fills me full of nostalgia. Like, it's crazy. And so I even went onto eBay and found, it was kind of cheap actually, is the World Heroes CD from back in the day, the soundtrack. because I even like the soundtrack quite a lot. Even that's nostalgic for me. So I had to pick that up, and I'm not unhappy. I was like a kind of like a giddy kid when this game was like, wow, cool. I was like, again, it was just making me look back to the early 90s and where I was at back then. I think I was 16 years old when I first played World Heroes. Really, so much so. This is a great one because I have a small, teeny hand in being a part of it. And I'm really, really happy with that. And I don't know if many of you know, there's a great show out there called Turbo Views, run by my friend Chris Bushi, Spider 1A. And he's been running it for, oh my God, so many years. And he does full-on TurboGrafx reviews on there, and he does quite a few other reviews of pinballs and all that, but it's mostly for TurboGrafx reviews. And Chris has such a great ambition to review every single TurboGrafx game of all time. And I applaud this effort. I'm one of his biggest fans. I really am. And me and Chris are very, very good friends. I mean, I really treasure our friendship quite a lot, Chris. Oh my God, I'm actually getting a little choked up. I'm not kidding. I really treasure our friendship. We've never met. And Chris has been such a great guy. And I really, really appreciate him as a person. I just wanted to say that. I really do. And he put out this DVD. He's put out a few other DVDs before. It's a collection of all the Turbo Views episodes with a lot of extras in there. And this is a bit of a project for his life. And I'm so happy he's on the third DVD right now. And he knows with me, he's so funny that he sends me the discs so I can just watch the discs, but I always keep these nice and sealed. I have my others up on the shelf over here. And what's wonderful with this one is that I got to be in an episode of Turbo Views, on Chris's show, and I was just so honored to be a part of it. And it was his 100th review, and it was of Double Dungeons, one of my most hated games of all time. And I'm not going to say anything. You go over and check his channel out. Check out Turbo Views, Spider 1A. And check it out, his Double Dungeons review. I'm in the review in the game. And it's really a lot of fun. It was a lot of work for Chris. It was a lot of work for me. You wouldn't believe it. And what's wonderful is, in the special features on the DVD, is I'm on the commentary track, and we're talking about all the effort that we did behind the scenes about making it happen. It's really, really true, and it really came together really well. And just the honest stories about kind of what it takes to kind of make an online show and some of the efforts that goes on, and really honored to be a part of it. And if you're interested or didn't realize that Chris had a DVD, go check out his channel, and go check out, you can find it on his channel where you can find the DVD and stuff like that. And you know what? I'll even put a link down below, because I just want to support Chris so much. And Chris doesn't have a very big channel, and I think a lot more people need to subscribe 100%. I really love his stuff, and as I say, really love Chris. He's a wonderful, really wonderful person. We're almost out. I've done a lot of talking. I think I'm about to lose my voice. I'll be really quick here in this one. This is something that means, I know, I always say that with a lot of stuff, but this, I couldn't believe that this was released. The Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy, not the movie, the TV series. The TV series from back in the early 80s, very early 80s. And this, I used to watch this in like 1982 on television when I lived in Ontario. And I'd always sneak down to the basement and watch The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is something very important to me, and I've never talked about it before, is that I remember my dad he was the manager of the world's biggest bookstore in Ontario. It just got torn down, I think about a year or two ago, and to build high-rises. But back in the 80s, it was probably the biggest bookstore in the entire world. And my dad managed the whole store, but that's a whole other story into itself. But I'd go in on a Saturday with my dad into the bookstore, and on the radio, because it was a radio play beforehand, we'd be driving down to the middle of Toronto, and my dad would put on the radio, and we'd listen to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on the radio. And we're talking like 1981, 82. Really. I got really fond memories with my dad and having those moments, and then watching the TV show. And I have it on DVD, but to have the remastered thing, so it's great. And all through Christmas, this is actually about a month and a half before Christmas, I think this came out. I sat for an entire week and I watched all the special features, everything. I watched everything on all these discs. Loved it. I just was like, this is just so wondrous and so wonderful. And I'm not a fan of the movie. That's a whole other thing into itself. But I love the TV show. I was really happy to get that. All right. This is the final thing. And this is a present from Kim for Christmas. She got me a few other things. I'm just showing this one for now. This is a really amazing book. And Kim said, is there any ideas of what you want for Christmas? I said, no, I'm pretty covered. And I said, but she didn't know what to get me. So I recommended maybe possibly this book, Art and Arcana, a visual history of Dungeons and Dragons. This is all of the old artwork from all of the old Dungeons and Dragons modules, books, artwork, pre-production artwork. Oh my God, it is unbelievable. And so during Christmas, I would sit during the day and I'd have a couple of drinks and I just would pour over all of the artwork. And it's like all the advertisements and things from back in the 80s. And it's a wondrous book. I mean, like here, this is a great example. I'm just gonna pull out a few things of the old modules and like just look at all of this. Oh, look at this! Look at that. I know I'm having a nerd orgasm. I thought this was so great seeing all of the artwork and all of the artwork from then till now. But it does spend a lot of time in the 80s, and I think some of the 80s artwork for Dungeons and Dragons is still some of the best. Like, look at that one image there. That captures what Dungeons and Dragons is for me. Hey, you know what? Even some of this really old artwork captures it for me. And so I was talking to Rob after Christmas, and he's like, "Oh my God!" He goes, "I got my wife the coolest book for Christmas." I'm like, "What'd you get her?" He's like, "Art and Arcana." I said, "Dude, that's so funny." I said, "Kim bought me the same book." I said, "It's great." He's like, "Oh, she loves it." And this is a big high recommendation for Dungeons and Dragons fans. Because I know there's a lot of Dungeons & Dragons books out there. If you love the artwork from the 80s, it's a must-buy. It's a must-buy. Without question. If Kim got it for me for Christmas or not, I would have definitely picked it up. Because it's such a beautiful link to the past, no pun intended, of old school artwork from Dungeons & Dragons. And phenomenal stuff. And I did it. I did it all in one take. I did that in. I can't believe it. I've been thinking about this stuff for a good month and a bit. And I was like, I got to come in and talk about all of this stuff. And I was like, today is the day. So, guys, thank you for sticking with me to the end of this. And hopefully you saw some interesting items in here. Maybe some that you want to pick up for yourselves, for sure. So, anyways, guys, until next time.